BBAI stock plunged because its quarter revenue dropped 18% to about $32 million, well below expectations, which created around a 28% gap down. But then we see the stock rebound, doing something very interesting. So we did have that massive gap down to around that $470 level, but then we end the day on $597, rebounding because afterwards BBAI ended the quarter with a strong cash position, nearly $391 million, which increased investors' confidence in its ability to fund growth. So lots going on with the stock, guys, as we've seen that very drastic gap down, but it is very interesting to see stock come right back to the zone we were in. Very major gap down with bad earnings. It's hard to measure. We're looking pretty good here, getting tighter within this kind of chop range. So we did get crushed with earnings, but it's nice to see that BBAI had some good news flushing in right afterwards, leading to a lot of people buying this dip, increasing the amount that we went up as well. So very drastic gap down, but it is nice to see this type of correction for BBAI, and it could lead us to right back into this chop zone, guys. So guys, starting this analysis on the weekly, we see exactly BBAI starts to do something very reminiscent, and what we could have gotten was a full retracement here, guys. Taking off the drawings, every time that we've seen a big move up, we've gotten that big leg down, just like we've analyzed on every BBAI video. IPO'd, kind of got that big move up, big leg down, continued move up, and then huge drastic move down even further. Each time we kind of had a repeating pattern here. We see that there was new price action. We've had around 6 weeks where we were kind of chopping sideways after getting that big move up, and then earnings came in trying to crush it back down, and then we see that big correction. So still a pretty major move to the downside, but very nice correction from the buyers, getting it back within this kind of threshold, not exactly within that range, but very much close to right back in that range that we were keeping an eye on. Whereas if the buyers continue to correct from this movement, we could be getting right back within this chop range and continuing to try to trend to that $787/$8 level. So weekly stands pretty self-explanatory, guys. Looks like the buyers are trying to push it up from that big drastic gap down, not letting these sellers push us right back down, just like the repeated price history shows. All right, guys, now trending to the daily chart. So very much this is a fundamental type of thing. Earning reports can be bad and sometimes more drastic than others. Sometimes earnings are bad, but they don't rip the stock down as much as we've seen right here. Here we see that exact thing happen, but instead we see a very sharp correction. Investors buying that dip, as well as that strong cash position being the main driver of this big, nice rebound here. If fundamentals can continue to be well here, we could be getting right back in this chop. From a TA perspective, we saw that $718 level being a more prominent resistance here. It was kind of an exit pathway, not a whole lot of chop within that 718 and 787. And then right here, we see price kind of tighten up a little bit more within this range of that $6 level and that 718. The volatility starts to kind of simmer down. So does the volume here. We see an obvious declining range in volume, and then we kind of see it stand constant. And we were looking for a squeeze-like effect above that 718, trying to get right back to that 787. But then the bad earnings came in, bring us all the way down. Very drastic move to the downside. We're talking around a 28% gap down, and now since we've kind of gotten a nice movement back up, we've corrected around half of that movement. So now looking for a continued leg up to get really right back in this range and where we were after that very bad earnings report. And now a pullback was definitely a thing in the question, as price history shows us that every single time we get a big move up, we get that big drastic move down. But buyers definitely showing here that they aren't ready for that big leg down. So what you guys want to pay attention to is getting right back within this chop zone. If that $6 level turns into some bad resistance there, you see price kind of flag out or kind of chop under that level, that wouldn't be a good sign. You want to see that continued correction up and then ultimately trending right back to around that $8 level, where we'd be looking for that price target of 1036 to get retested. If the company's revenue cannot stay on point and it continues to drop and we continue to get bad earnings reports, we could be seeing a pattern with this. But we also do like that it has recovered with a strong cash position. So definitely looking a bit better towards those next kind of earnings reports, right? With that kind of ability to fund growth a bit more and withstand near-term challenges. So daily stands pretty self-explanatory. Not a whole lot to analyze on the most recent time frame, as we've gotten a very fundamental move down. The main thing you want to see is price continue its movement back within this general range of $6 and $8 and continue to battle for that move, retesting those levels of $8 and retesting that high of this movement of $872. All right, guys, so take you to the hourly chart. We see that 718 was that more prominent resistance there, guys. We see price kind of dip under that, retest that zone, get under, find a little bit of an ascending profile, and we kind of retest that. Looked like we were about to get another retest, but then that's when we get the bad earnings, and it brings us all the way down to that $475 level. But you see instantly, right, that good cash position news as well as investors buying the dip really propelled the stock up. Nice correction here, guys, as we hit that floor. We get a very nice correction to the upside, and we do see a bit of selling pressure at that $6 level. So you want to see, price continue to move in this nice fashion here. Wouldn't surprise me to see, an hour or two kind of struggling to get above that zone and maintain it, but then you'd want to see a nice movement up really getting right back within the zone here, and then continuing to trend to that 622, where that'd be a better range for the bulls to be in. Below around that $6 level, we've only gotten to once. The more general volatile chop range really does have that support level of 622. So as long as we get above that 622 and use that as support, trend our way back up, looking nice for the bulls. And ultimately, you do want to see that full gap fill within the next couple of weeks. So guys, surprisingly, we do stand quite bullish on BBAI, right? That wasn't good news fundamentally, but seeing that type of bounce back and correction, something we've never really seen with BBAI, right? Getting below a kind of range that we were in for such a long time, seeing that bad earnings. Typically with this stock, you would see a kind of full retracement or kind of messing around towards the bottom of this range before a nice move up. The fact that we've gotten bought right back up and testing right around the bottom of the range that we were in for so long, definitely nice sign and good rebound. And definitely shows that the company's getting that confidence going into the future terms. And people for the short term, guys, as long as we can get within this general range again, get above that 622 like we had marked up, I think we are looking nice for a trend and full gap fill. But we'll have to see what price does though. If that $6 kind of turns into hard resistance or that 622 turns into hard resistance, watch for a smaller pullback and then a retest. But definitely want to see the buyers continue their rebound move up, as we do still have a bit more to trend. Now let me know your price predictions for BBAI in the comments below. Let me know what you guys are thinking here for the short and long term of the stock. If you guys want me to continue to cover BBAI, make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, guys, trade smart, and I will see you all in the next one.